Hi everyone, it's Tiffany. Good morning. I am an international healer and spiritual transformational teacher. Thanks for joining me in today's day 6 Empowered Empath Challenge. In today's topic, I'm going to share with you the 4 principles of Inner Alchemy Healing. This is the core and foundations of my courses and programs. And through these 4 mantras and 4 practices, we then build upon that. So I wanted to share with you these 4 principles that I apply to my life as much as I can. Whenever I'm feeling down or feeling stuck, I would go back to these principles to help me process emotions, to heal myself, to look at the situation with my wise eyes, and go forward from there. So to join me in this challenge, the Empowered Empath Challenge is for empath, lightworkers, starseeds, and earth angels, anyone that has a soul that is sensitive to energies and other people's emotions around them. You are a lovely soul who knows that you're here for a bigger purpose and that you know you're here to create an impact in the world. You're usually very kind, you tend to give a lot to other people, and sometimes can struggle for meeting your own needs or asking for what you really want. What you really want. And if this is the case, and if you're looking for rapid ascension and a radical change, stick to this challenge. And I'm sharing some juicy content with you guys that really helped me out in my journey. And these content have only been shared with my paid students. So just know that these are some golden nuggets that I'm sharing, and I really hope that they will help you along your journey. So to join the challenge, click to the description on the video next to the video. Register so that I know that you're part of the challenge, and making sure that throughout the 7 days, making a comment, even just an emoji or saying hi or answering the questions that I asked throughout the challenge to show me that you're participating. And by the end of the challenge, I'll give it a few days or so, I'm going to pick out a winner that's going to win a healing session with me valued at $120. So if you like my energy, if you like what I'm sharing, and if you're looking for healing or improvement session for your energy body, please feel free to enter this challenge. So without further ado, I'm going to go into the teachings today. The first principle of Inner Alchemy Healing is allowing and embracing whatever arises. So in the beginning of my journey, I didn't really know what to do with negative emotions. I kind of viewed it as something that weighs me down or prevents me from moving forward. I feel ashamed, and sometimes I find myself in this downward spiral, right? Have you ever found yourself in those situations where you start with one thought and then next thing you know, these thought patterns just keep going and builds a momentum, and it kind of just drains you in this vortex of sabotage and shame. So by learning that it's okay to allow whatever arises and actually embrace it, really helped me understand myself. I was able to gain clarity on why I was feeling bad, how can I move forward, and really applying self-love to the most helpful degree that I can be at that moment for myself, to be there for myself, to stop abandoning for myself, stop rejecting myself, stop shaming myself and hating on myself and saying mean things about myself, but to really learn how to embrace every single aspect of me. Every single emotion that arises in our life shows us something. So just like Carl Jung said, whatever you resist persists. So I learned that by fighting against it, it's just going to push towards me even more. So I need to learn how to let go and surrender. Like a story that I might have shared in another previous video, there was a man on Earth and he was holding a jacket. And it was really windy outside. So the cloud and the sun made a bet, each other saying, can you make that man take off his jacket? So the cloud says, oh, I'm up for this challenge, and the cloud just blow and blow, harsh wind, and the harder the cloud blow, the tighter the man hold on to his jacket. And then finally, cloud gave up and said, fine, sun, you can give it a try. So sun gave it a try, and all he did was brighten his sun ray a little bit more and make it much warmer, very gentle approach, and the man just gently take off his jacket. So the moral of the story, really stick with me, is understanding that you can use a gentle approach without running yourself to the ground, without shaming yourself, without resisting or trying way too hard to exhaust yourself. So learning how to allow and embrace whatever arises through what really helps me is breath work. So you can do alternative nostril breathing from yoga classes. You can simply take deep breaths. You can use 7-7-4-1 breath where you inhale 7 count, you hold it for 7 counts, then you exhale 4, then pause for 1. And you continue the cycle for a few times. The thing with doing breath work is if you're brand new to breath work, making sure that you don't over push yourself, overstrain your body. I started with just 3 cycles at a time and slowly built it up to 5 cycles at a time. And now I usually just stick to about maximum 10 cycles at a time. So try that out. And if you want more tips, you can sign up for my How to Process Anger. It's a free mini course on my website, myinnertemple.com/freebies. And in that course, together is about 1 hour, but it's 10 videos. And each video is only about 5 to 10 minutes long, where I'll share with you how to process some of these intense emotions. And it doesn't have to be anger. It can be applied to any sort of emotions that might be arising. The second principle is walking the middle path. So learning how to release some of these type of thinking. Like for myself, for example, I have the perfectionist thinking where things have to be perfect, so I have to be perfect. Or sometimes black and white thinking, right? Like either this situation means I'm this way or it means I'm this way. So I really need to learn how to shift my thinking during my journey. And comment below, let me know in this video, really join me and make a connection with each other. Have you ever struggled with that? Have you ever struggled with these type of thinking where you feel like you need to be perfect to be loved, or if it's not perfect, then it means you're not good enough? Have you ever struggled with black and white thinking, right? Where it's like a polar extreme or polar opposites, and you can't seem to find the middle ground sometimes. And if you struggle with that, we can now start learning how to walk the middle path. So walking the middle path is, instead of saying, if I'm this, then I'm this. So if I'm, let's say, pretty and rich and then people will love me. If something, then something. So it's very conditional. And I learned to release that from my life and substitute then or buts, those things like, oh, this person loves me, but we always seem to make an excuse for ourselves. So switching those words to and instead, I'll give you some examples that really helped me. So in day 1 of the challenge, where we talked about assertiveness and boundaries, I talked about a mantra. You can be a kind person and still say no. So notice how you can be a good person, a kind person, a nice person, and still have the permission and the ability to say no. Or sometimes if you're finding yourself saying, I should be stronger, saying I can be strong and vulnerable at the same time. I can accept myself and allow myself to work on myself at the same time. So sometimes we get stuck into this portal where, we're constantly fixing ourselves when we go on this ascension journey. But at the same time is learning how to accept where you are at, accepting that we are all on different time zones and your timeline is going to be different than everyone. So releasing that comparison from yourself and others. And this one really helped me when I was dealing with anxiety. I would affirm I can work on regulating my emotions and accepting how I feel. So this is really, really important. I can work on regulating my emotions and accepting how I feel. So there's an element of validation and also wisdom, using wise mind, wise eyes to really look at your emotions and see what is it really about and what is it showing me. It's okay to give to others and take from others, right? This is really hard for me, even just saying it right now. I can feel some resistance because as empath, you tend to overgive. It's so easy to give. Sometimes you give without boundaries, and then a few days later you regret it and you're so tired. So affirming to yourself that it's okay to take from others and to give from others. There's an energy exchange. It's okay to focus on myself and care for others. There's only 24 hours in a day. It's really hard for us to sometimes balance how much to give to others, like your family, your kids, your children, your husband, your wife, to yourself. So learning that when your body starts to give you signals that is under stress, allowing yourself to come into a place of rest, come into your peace of mind, right? Doing some yoga practice, breathwork practice, or even taking a short nap. These doesn't have to be long. And the last one is, it's okay for me to not take things personally and still be a considerate person. It's okay for me to not take things personally and still be a considerate person. This was really helpful for me because sometimes empath, we kind of take in things and we internalize things. We internalize other people's actions. We make assumptions sometimes. And it's really allowing yourself to come into the space that, you know what, maybe that person didn't say hi back because they really didn't see me. Maybe they didn't have their glasses, which happened to me in my high school. Someone was really mad at me because they like, Tiffany, I waved hi to you in the hallway and you didn't say hi back. And I was like, I don't have my glasses. I can't see anything. So knowing that sometimes is not intentional. Sometimes people are not always out to get you. The world is not against you. The world, the universe is conspiring to help you achieve your dreams and your visions, right? Everything is here to help you. This is an abundant universe. And the third teaching that I'm going to share with you today is metta bhavana. So it's the practice of compassion. So being an empath, if you've ever felt being dragged by other people's emotions and times when you're feeling ungrounded, shifting your energy field into compassion. Sometimes when you tap too much into empathy, empathy is great to have, but it allows you to become attached to people, attached to people's outcome, attached to people's state of mind, state of being. So you're always wobbling around. You're not grounded. You're not centered. And I talked about this yesterday on healing your emotional body. So what you need to do is really come into the space of compassion, right? A lot of Buddhism talk about compassion. When you have compassion, you have the empathy towards a person's situation, towards how they're feeling, but you come into a bigger and grander vibration that you don't get dragged down alongside to that frequency, right? Sometimes you can still hold space for people, right? Still help them process whatever intense feeling or situation they're going through without being too attached to the outcome or situation. You can come from a wise, come from an ascended master, come from an angelic perspective, helping them hold space. And if you haven't heard about what it means to hold space for someone, you can go to my YouTube channel, type in how to hold space under Tiffany Tin. There's, I think, 10 to 13 tips on what does it look like to hold space for others and yourself. The fourth principle is to channel your inner compassionate figure. So in the beginning of my journey, when I was still struggling with depression, I was really identified with my ego. I was really identified with my negative thoughts. Whatever my negative thought says, I would listen to it. And so learning how to detach from that is creating a new voice. I remember another coach said, you don't create change by going to the past. You create change by creating new possibilities and new energy. So you need to birth this new aspects of you. It's almost like the cartoons when you see the angel and the devil speaking to that character in a situation. So when we're depressed, when we're like in anxiety, when we are seeking healing, we're always listening to the sabotaging voice, a voice that shames us, tells us that we're not good enough. Where is the angel? In my experience in the beginnings of my journey, I didn't have that voice. Like I just either wouldn't listen to it, or I was so entrenched with this negative voice. So the challenge for you today is to channel your inner compassionate figure. Now, this compassionate figure can be an ascended master that you work with, so that's such as Christ consciousness, Mother Kuan Yin, Lady Nada, Shakti. All of these beautiful, compassionate beings really start connecting with the energy, so you can illuminate that part that is already within yourself, right? These ascended masters are one with us. They're showing us that we have these qualities within. We just need to unleash it, let it shine, let it express itself. Other people might like to use an animal totem. So for example, one of my clients, compassionate figure is her cat. Her cat is always there for her, really knows her really well emotionally. So her inner compassionate figure was the cat. And the purpose of us connecting with this compassionate figure is to help you learn how to self-coach yourself, right? It is awesome to have a coach, have a healer, have a therapist alongside your journey to boost you up, to keep holding you up until you can stand up firmly and empower your divine essence with confidence. But at some point, as a healer myself, I don't really want my clients or students to become codependent to me, right? The whole point of me working with them is to help them become a beacon of light themselves, to stand strong themselves. So it's really essential for me to coach them on how to self-talk. Like in times where sometimes you don't have a person next to you all the time to help you hold space, help you become compassion, it's important to draw that upon yourself. So connecting with that voice within, how does that voice look like? Sound like? How does your compassionate figure look like? What are their aura color like? What would you see around them? And what would your compassionate figure say to you right now? Right? So going into a meditation, you might be able to find someone YouTube for free, channeling your compassionate figure, or you might see a guided meditation with Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael. Really start to cultivate that compassionate voice within. So comment below, comment next to the video, and let me know, who is your compassionate figure? Who do you always go to when you need compassion? So for me is the goddess energy, right? Goddess Mother Kuan Yin is very close to my heart. So I would always start to tune into that aspect of myself who is in a similar vibration of Mother Kuan Yin, and applying some of that energy within me, asking myself, like, what do I need right now? What would someone who loves themselves do? Does my body need my attention right now? So on and so forth. And let me know if you have any questions, and share with me, what is your compassionate figure? How does she look like? Have you been working with a compassionate figure already? Amazing. So thanks for joining me in today's challenge. Our challenge is almost over. We have one more day to go. Tomorrow, we're going to look into finding clarity on your soul mission or your life purpose. We're going to help empath, light workers, and starseeds really come into stepping into their power, expressing their truth. You want to wake up feeling that you're full of energy, that you are ready to live the day with happiness, with joy, with bliss, and that you feel fulfilled within. This is what a lot of empaths struggle with. We want to do things that fulfill us, that sets our soul on fire. So we're going to discuss that tomorrow. And thanks for joining me today. Comment next to the video. Let me know how you're doing, how you're finding the challenge. And if you have any question, comments, and I will definitely reply to them. You can also join our private community on Facebook called Empowered Empaths of Light, where I'll continue to share teachings, guide classes in the private Facebook group after the challenge. So if you want to keep learning, keep tuning in with other empaths and learn from me, join me in that group, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.